right, everybody, we are getting ready to go live with our pop bumpers assembly. Hang tight for another minute while we set up.
Got all sorts of goodies in this box.
Yes. Oh, we are live.
We're live.
Oh, where are you at? You didn't put the holding screen. Hey, everybody, we're live. We're still learning how to do this.
Hey, check it out. Now we're holding.
I'm glad you didn't see me picking my nose right there.
How many more times do we have to do this before those mistakes are unexcusable?
Oh, I don't know.
At least 100, right?
Absolutely. Okay, I'm waiting to see it. Rock, rock, rock and roller games. Someone said they saw me picking my nose. Lies!
I don't know. You can deny it as much as you want.
Here we go. Okay, now it's finally updating on my end. Okay, Kyle, well, whenever you're ready, we can start the show.
Okay, I think we should do it.
All right, give us a countdown.
3, 2, 1. We're here.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody, to episode 3 of Pintech Live with Kyle Spiteri. I am your live moderator, EP003, and today Kyle is going to be disassembling his Williams pop bumpers on this awesome roller games we've been working on, and he's going to walk us through his entire process from taking them off, cleaning the playfield, and then getting those bad boys back on there. So Kyle, tell us where you are in your process so far.
So, I have removed 2 of the pop bumpers so far, just to expedite time, because it is a very tedious process, but I wanted to make sure that we could still disassemble one. We were going to clean up the playfield a little bit, and then I will reassemble a few, and we can show you how to do that too.
Awesome.
So, I have the 2 upper pop bumpers taken apart now, but I decided to leave the extra annoying one behind this drop target bank to be the one that we do on camera. Drop target bank is mounted like danger close.
Yeah, how do you even get into those little grooves? That definitely looks like the most tricky pop bumper to remove. So I'm glad you left that one for us to explore, because I guess you would have to completely disassemble that drop target mech? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're just going to remove the bank. It's held on with just a few screws. Get these lights out of the way. And then we'll just most likely leave it hanging for a little while so we can get back in here. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Let's work on that now really quick.
Awesome.
We'll get the... I'll bend these lights out of the way. These are the lights that... I think... What does it spell? War? Whatever it does to... whenever you drop a drop target. So these need to get out of the way so we can drop this assembly out. I can see one...
We had a question from Facebook saying, were the metal yolks split in half?
They weren't, and that made me really mad, because that's the reason I wanted to do this. So I could show people what a broken yoke is. I think the reason that they're not broken on this game is there really just isn't a lot of pop bumper action. I think you really kind of just have to make a pitiful shot up around the orbit to even get it to go into the pops. So, unfortunately, no broken yokes, but I will be replacing them with the unbreakable Gottlieb yokes. So, I'll show you guys what those look like.
Yokes on us. That was our that was Andrew Barney's awesome joke for the day.
That's
Don't
a good
leave
one.
us, Andrew. It was a good one. It was quality.
All right. One more screw here. I think one thing we'll do next week is I can show y'all how to take one of these Williams drop target banks apart as well.
Awesome. And tell us why you're doing this. Why do we have to remove the pop bumpers to clean the playfield? Why can't I just like kind of lift it up and go shimmy, shimmy, shimmy underneath it and done?
Because to be very thorough, you need to remove the entire assembly. But just like, the reason I wanted to do this was to replace those broken yokes. I like to do things once. So during the disassembly process, replacing those things, it's just kind of a no-brainer. But unfortunately, none of them are broken yet. But we have a chance that this third one could be busted. So let's see.
Oh no, it's like we hope not, but we hope so. That's where we are right now. Tattooing Sky, thank you for making your marker order. And you're not late, you're right on time.
Yeah, right on time. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to start with removing the rod and ring from the yokes.
All right.
This guy here, the actual part that moves. And then we will need to remove the bracket off of these studs here that come in through the top of the playfield. Let me get the camera kind of in a spot. We're going to use a 5/16 hollow nut driver. You need to have a hollow driver to get in over the screws themselves.
Awesome. And it's just to put it out there, just a reminder. I know a lot of you guys have been doing pinball teching for a long time, so you know this, but keep your game powered off and unplugged completely. Let's have no accidents here. There should not be any power running to your games as you're doing something like this. That's very, very dangerous.
Yes, proceed at your own risk. I'm gonna get these guys off. The last step, and probably the most annoying step when it comes to working on pop bumpers, is the staple wire or the lamp socket leads. I foolishly did not get the upgrades that I like to put in these things to kind of show you guys how hard it is to get this stuff back together. It's not hard, it just takes patience. But you'll see when we struggle to get all this stuff wired up back right.
And you're using your magnetic tray / bowl to store all your screws, right? And so you don't lose them?
Right now I'm using the speaker.
He loves to use that. Welcome to the party, Rob Allman. He's here now, so we can start, guys. Palo Letty says he or she misses you out in the Bay Area, Kyle. Kyle, your Bay Area friends want you back, but you're now a Southerner.
Yes, honorary, I suppose.
He says y'all a lot, too. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but...
I caught the y'all. I miss everybody in the Bay Area as well, very much so. But I will be back to play some pinball soon, someday.
Nice. And Mike Fischel is working on a Gorgar restoration right now, and he's going to be doing his pops in the next week or so.
That name sounds familiar. I wonder if I've spoken to you, or maybe I've seen you around.
So, for him doing a Gorgar pop bumper disassembly and reassembly, would that be very similar to what you're doing now, or is it a little bit different?
Yeah, it'll be it's very similar. Williams kind of invented the perfect pop bumper and really hadn't changed it for a long time. A lot of pop bumper parts are interchangeable. I'm not going to say anything super wrong, but I know that there's a difference between some of the Gottlieb AC powered and DC powered pop bumpers, but a lot of the Williams stuff was the same from the late 70s all the way until Star Wars Episode 1, the last game.
Right.
Last thing we're going to do is remove the pop bumper switch here. Unfortunately, we are 0 for 0 on broken yolks, and I was hoping we'd see a broken spoon as well. This piece here.
Yeah, show us what the yolk is that you're talking about.
Okay, I can take that apart.
A non-broken yolk.
Give me a second. Let me see if I can get this in frame. To get the yolk off, you have to take this coil retaining bracket off. Let me move this up, sorry. This guy here. So we've got 2 screws on the back.
Alright.
And get these guys off.
Oh, so why does that break often?
You know, they're just crummy. These things, there's a lot of action, a lot of force put onto these bumpers. I'll show you what it is. We can separate the plunger from the coil. And let's bring this up here. So this is your pop bumper plunger here. You've got the coil retaining bracket. And this set of pieces here is the yoke. The yoke is what connects the plunger to the rod and ring, which is what hits the ball.
Can you bring it down a little bit? Oh, okay. There you go.
These guys here. So these kind of scissor their way on to the pop bumper plunger. And then in the assembly, here's the rest of the pop bumper assembly. These guys attach into these yokes. I'm not going to try to force it. And then these screw in, and that is what actuates the rod and ring, which is now stuck because it got pushed above the body. We'll see when they all go back together. But these yokes, generally, these metal ones, it's really thin in this spot right here, and they'll snap in half.
Got you. So snapping in half from excessive ball impact.
Yeah, well, excessive action.
Shaking. Okay.
When you've got excellent pop bumper action, that will happen. Okay. So I think now that we've got all this apart, I need to come back in close. And we have to remove the last few bits of wire for the pop bumper lamp. These are very commonly stapled to the playfield. Since they do carry, lamp voltage, they need to be kind of held in place so they can't short against anything. So these are kind of a pain in the butt to take out. I have a special tool I will show everyone that I use. But first, we're going to remove the pop bumper switch. This gives us a lot of extra room, and I believe we will also be changing the pop bumper spoons while we're in here.
We're getting a lot of yoke jokes. The next one's enough yoking around.
I'm not a very yokey kind of guy. No,
that was a good one too. Yoke's on you.
Yeah, really. To get the staples out, I have this pair of pliers. You can kind of see the end. They come down to a point, so I can kind of grab the staple, and since they have that angle to them, you can use that to leverage and pull one side of the staple out when you yank on it. Sometimes that works better in practice than in theory than it does in practice, but
let's see it happen. Let's see it in action. So you wouldn't use an actual staple remover?
You could. Sometimes I'll use a screwdriver and just kind of pry it all up, but I prefer to not. I try to not break the don't use screwdrivers as a prying tool.
What is that tool called, and where do they get it?
I have no idea what this tool is called, and I got it from somebody who taught me a lot about working on pinball games. I think it might just be an angled diagonal cutter. I'll try to look and see if I can find it, because this one's getting dull, and I'm going to need a new one soon.
Yeah, and APB Enterprises said also a hook will work. So we sell this hook and scribe tool set that you can use to apply those staples off.
Absolutely.
Thanks for posting that link in there. That's awesome.
All right. I forgot to unsolder one piece here, so I'm going to go get the handy soldering iron and plug that in.
Newt House said it's called a flush diagonal wire cutter.
Yeah.
So now you know. Never forget it.
It's a handy tool.
The flush cutter. I like that. Or tin snips. Oh, tin snips. That's a good one.
Wait for this guy to get hot, and I'm going to unsolder one of these patch wires. Again, this GI wire kind of sat right here, and then they'll use these wires to carry voltage from one thing to another. It's kind of a mess. I kind of drew some lines to figure out how to put everything back in the end, but we'll see how it goes. See if we can get this
So
done.
again, remember, for anyone who's doing this for the first time, taking pictures is so vital to your process, because Kyle, who is a professional, will remember exactly where that wire goes later. But if you get called away to go make dinner or something like that, and then you don't exactly remember where you put it because you didn't get to touch your pin for 2 weeks later, it's good to have those picture references.
Absolutely.
Because one wire misplaced in the wrong spot could just lead to all sorts of catastrophes later. Not to scare you. I'm a little bit scared.
Pictures are a very, very good resource. I think, I wouldn't say that I'll remember where all this stuff goes, but just doing this stuff so much, I can kind of tell when something looks right and when something looks kind of fishy, but I make a lot of mistakes. I'm not perfect. Alright, I'm going to cheat because this has kind of got a solder blob, but if we can get this might not focus totally, but you can get underneath this thin, flat metal wire, kind of push your screwdriver in, try to get it as close to the staple as possible, and then just rotate, and that'll help work one side of the staple out. I try to only remove one side of the staple because if I'm real careful, I can kind of get back in there and use the other side of the staple to hold everything in place.
Nice.
That worked out.
And say if the staple does come out completely, what do you suggest as far as remounting that wire and so it's not loosey-goosey?
It's best to get a staple gun and add another staple. On a future project, I've been recommending a lot of people upgrade to these Stern pop bumper sockets. Instead of using this flat strand of metal, Stern used insulated wires, and it makes it a whole lot easier to navigate and get these things to go in the correct place. Williams used these wires and then these rubber insulation bits to kind of protect the wire from shorting against anything, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt. It was definitely a cost-saving measure more than anything. The Stern ones are the way to go.
Very cool. Rob Allman on Facebook says, who has been working on pins long enough to have used Polaroids for their backup?
Whoa.
That sounds expensive.
Yeah, that's incredible. Not me.
Oh, man.
All right, we're going to go above the play field now. I've got everything unhooked underneath. So now we'll be able to dismount the pop bumper from the top side. All right.
Oh, yeah. You'll appreciate this, Kyle. We think mTort on Twitch said, we think Mark was using a stone tablet and a chisel.
Yeah.
That's Paul. If you didn't guess who put that one in there. Everyone's got jokes today.
Okay. So now,
right.
now that everything underneath has been disconnected,
all right.
We
should
have...
just be able to pull it up, right?
Yes, we can pull it up. I also need to pull up the camera, but the wire was snagged. There's 2 screws inside the pop bumper body, 2 Phillips head screws. We can remove those, and the whole assembly will come up and out.
Very cool. Let's see it.
Number 2 screws, number 2 Phillips. We'll get this. Right. They're wood screws, so get those loose. And
rock and roller games. I know. How can you not have that theme song stuck in your head the entire time working on this game?
It's going to be a great reward
Yeah.
when we're all
Go
done.
for the wall.
Look at that awful thing. You know, it just surprisingly, it's not broken. It's kind of like disappointing how like good condition all of this stuff is in. I'm going to replace all of it just to show you, but I guess, you know, in a cost-conscious, you know, restoration or someone wanting to get a game just working again, all of these parts here are in good shape. Just need to be cleaned up. This is nicked. Someone drilled a hole here to get these aftermarket lights up through.
Can you show us? Can you bring your hand down a little bit?
Yeah. See that
okay.
nick at the
Yeah,
bottom
I
of
do
the
see that
skirt?
nick. Oh no.
You know.
So would you replace that or just kind of slide it to the side?
No, absolutely. We're going to replace it.
Very cool.
And I also have two choices of pop bumper skirts. We can choose if we want to use red or if we want to use blue.
Ooh. So we got a question on Facebook saying, are you replacing the ring and rod? I missed that. Will you?
Probably not. I have new
Probably
ones, but generally they don't need to be replaced. What will happen with ring and rods a lot of time when they get old is you'll be all done reassembling the pop bumper and you'll be putting a new nut, or putting your elastic lock nut back on here, and this will just snap off. It's always good to have extra ones, but these ones aren't broken. They could be cleaned up. I'll
come down a little bit more with your hands. Sorry.
What's up?
Just bring your hands down a little bit more because you're kind of slightly out of frame.
Sorry. But yeah, no, this is all, it's all in good shape still. They're not broken. Sometimes you'll see these press joints right here where the studs come out of the ring. Those will break, but these are in good shape.
Yeah, they look great. They look brand new almost. But it's a 30-year-old game.
It's a 30-year-old game. It's pretty new. Okay, so the next step is we are going to clean this area pretty well. I'm going to be placing some Mylar trim platters around the pop bumper area. This game is fully Mylar'd from the factory, and it does have a separate Mylar section for the playfield area, but just to prevent further wear and because it is such a pain to get that ramp off, do it once, protect it as much as you can, we'll be good.
Right. So we can also link to, we have those Mylar pop bumper protectors as well.
Absolutely do, yeah.
Let's link that in the chat.
They're pre-cut. Here, actually, I have one on the floor that I haven't cut out yet.
You said they're pre-cut, but you haven't cut it out yet. What do you mean?
Well, because since you only get about half of a pop bumper's worth of action on some of these areas.
Okay.
The only place the ball can contact is up here or over here. I'll be cutting the pop bumper Mylars so they don't, this part doesn't need to be applied. So.
Oh, wow. Do we get to see you do that cut? It seems like you have to be very precise, right, to get that perfect circle?
Just be careful. All of this stuff.
Are you using scissors or?
I was using an X-Acto knife.
Okay, cool.
A lot of pinball work really comes down to just like having patience. If you have enough patience, you can achieve anything. Don't force things. Don't rush things.
Absolutely.
We're going to use our handy dandy Novus number 2. We're going to take off years and years worth of crud.
Excellent.
Except for my Novus is clogged. Of course it is. Alright.
You didn't unclog your Novus before the stream?
No, I'm sorry. Got my handy dandy pick to stick right down in there.
Always keep a toothpick, in case you need to stab a Novus bottle.
You never know. Okay, so this is just going to be super satisfying because this is like disgusting. There's so much dirt and gross, and it's just going to change color, and it's going to be wonderful.
We have trolling Kyle on Facebook that you forgot the Mylar at the warehouse and you had to rush back to get him. But in his defense, it proves his professionalism because he went back to get them.
See how fast I can get to work from my house and back again.
Yeah. Oh, All right, clean it up. So that grimy stuff on the pastel green, is that where on the paint that you can't get off, or does that come off?
You
Oh, it's a
can
little
get
bit of
that off
chipping.
if you're determined enough.
Oh wow, that's dirty.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. This wear here, this is like a lot of ball swirl. It's a lot of like deep nicks in the clear coat that is just filled up with dirt. Again, I'm not restoring this game. I'm not, trying to make some museum piece or something. I want a roller games I can play. I'm just going to Mylar over it, and it's going to be good for the rest of its life.
Very cool.
So we'll work on getting the rest of this crud off. When I start to novice playfields, and again, this is how I do it. There's 1,000 different ways to clean a pinball machine, and this is the way I'm comfortable with, and I've been doing for a long time. I like to use novice, and then a nice coat of wax after it's been cleaned up. But I like to get a really nice saturated area of novice on the rag, and let the novice do the work, and you don't have to push. It's not a physical thing. It's just let the compound do its job.
Oh no, we got another belt sander. A belt sander will get those pesky swirl marks out.
If you wanted to get those swirls out, if getting that kind of stuff out is really important to you, there's a lot of guides on how to do it online. The magic eraser trick is very effective, but it's also very dangerous.
It's dangerous as well, right? It could pull up the paint.
Yeah, the clear coat on these old playfields is just it's very thin. It's not like a modern playfield where they try to get that mirror finish everyone wants on a game nowadays. So yeah, especially on the older games, the lacquer clear coats that they used on a lot of the electromechanicals are very thin. So just, do it your own discretion. Do it in a corner where no one can see it. See what kind of results you get.
Absolutely.
Williams started clear coating their games with a product, they called it Diamond Plate. And actually, I think Roller Games was the first production game to get Diamond Plate from the factory. This one isn't, obviously, it's Mylar, but yeah, it's good. That's why a lot of those Williams games from the 90s still look really good 30 years on. So this is starting to look better. It looks a little nicer. The goal, again, is just to get off all that dirt, and then we'll buff off the kind of the residue that's still left with the clean side of the rag. And then we will be able to start applying those pop bumper Mylar appliques.
It's looking shiny.
Yeah, it's cleaning up nice.
And you're putting a lot of pressure right now, it looks like. Yeah?
I'm trying to see how much of that ball swirl you can get out. Sometimes if you use like a really nappy cloth and your rag has a lot of novice in it, it'll start to pull a lot of it up. But from, again, the skate area is kind of still that grimy texture we used to have, and that's what we're left with.
Did you know that Funhouse has diamond plates?
Yeah, Funhouse I think was one of the... I think Funhouse came almost exactly after this game, I think. Well, a couple games after this. Every single WPC era game, it has its own factory diamond plate clear coat. Which is good. It was effective. Now that people want to restore games to look like, hot rods and their mirror finishes in the paint, it's not as impressive anymore. But at the time, operators loved it because it was just powerful. It didn't crack. It didn't show wear. All right. I like that.
Looking good. Yeah, looking good. Looking clean.
You can kind of buff it out. You can see the way that where you can see where the paint was covered under the Mylar, and just like the color difference right there. What color this game should have been if it was...
Yeah. That's dirty.
Yeah, it's grody.
So next week, we will be tackling cleaning the entire playfield, right?
Yeah, we'll work on cleaning the playfield. I think we'll also work on some drop targets.
That would be good.
We'll rebuild that drop target bank. I'll admit, when I first got this game, I didn't know we were using it for filming, so I cheated and I repaired one of the optos on the board, but I can show you what I did.
Yeah, you can walk us through it. I know, he just wants to fix this game so he can play it.
Yes.
And we're like, hold on, you're going to now take 3 months to fix this game, and you can only work on it for 1 hour out of every week on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Well,
so we're torturing Kyle right now, everybody.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take one of these pop bumper Mylars and I'm going to see if I can apply it on camera under pressure and not screw it up.
Oh, Michael Yan said he would love to see how to clean a 1960s Woodrow pen without damaging it.
Yeah, that's an exercise in patience.
Again, patience. That is the theme of the day. All right.
So we've got the Mylar here. They're cut on a plotter, and I can peel it up and off. And you probably can't see this because it's clear.
So it has a sticky adhesive on the back?
Yes, it's adhesive.
Yeah, okay.
So I've got this ring that is very clear. And the goal is that it's cut out in the center. You just need to leave enough room for all of the internals of the pop bumper to go through. And I'll lay that down like that. I like to apply one side and then like slowly work it to the other side so it doesn't get a kink. It's just like applying any, decal.
It's like applying the protective covering over your smartphone.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Or a vinyl decal.
No bubbles. Oh, I see a bubble.
No,
I'm
you
just
don't.
Kidding.
Don't scare me like that. But yeah, that'll cover up the rest of the area and just prevent this from peeling up more.
Yes, Ben Gasaway also noticed that the rubber under the spinner, it looks like it's about to break. I've been staring at that thing all week.
I wouldn't be surprised if that piece of rubber is like 25 years old.
It looks very brittle. It looks crunchy, in fact.
This game, it's just such a pain in the butt to take this ramp off. Like, all of this stuff was just super brittle and ancient. Okay, let's grab the rest of these Mylar pieces.
Do you need to take off that rubber before you reinstall the pop bumper, or is it still easily accessible after you put those back in?
I'll be able to get to it while it's still there. Nice. But maybe I will take it off because it's really satisfying to rip those things off. Okay.
Give us a little pleasure.
So I already cut one to make sure my method would be accurate, and this will work out okay. But let's see if we can lay down the other one, and I can try to cut this on camera.
Yeah, no pressure.
Okay,
have you ever cut anything on camera before?
No, I've never done anything on camera.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
So what I think I'm going to do is I can already see that the diameter or the radius of this circle I need is going to be about half. So I'm just going to make a cut halfway here. Can I see? Is this visible? Kind of.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So you're basically doing that because there are other pieces that are preventing from the full circle to happen. So you need to cut into it so it fits flush.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'll cut it in half, or at least somewhere, so at least I can have a flap like this, because that will help me lay it over something, such as, kind of like this. We can kind of see,
Very nice. We had a Facebook comment saying, LED that game. And this game already is LED'd.
But
it's actually very colorful LEDs, and Kyle wants to remove all the beautiful colors that someone took a lot of time to put in because he wants to go with warm white LEDs. Is that correct?
It's going to have LEDs, but they are not going to be, it's not going to be super colorful. Sorry.
And we'll have an episode where we put in all, what was it, 162 LED lights?
We need to do that count. I think that's something I'm gonna work on, counting every lamp in this thing, and whoever got it right gets a prize. Go ahead and take some more guesses if people want to guess how many lamps are in this game.
How many lamps are in this game, everyone? It won't be a few episodes in before we reveal it. My guess was 162. I just came up with that number in my head.
I think my first guess was
something. I think my first guess was in the low 50s, and everyone laughed at me, so 162.
I used the wrong side. There we go. That'll be great. That'll cover up just exactly where we need it. Let's apply it now.
The beautiful thing about LED color and lighting is it is very opinion based, right? So some people love warm white. It gives that old school factory standard feel. Other people want cool white because it makes the colors pop. Some people want to go all purple and hashtag it.
Yeah, you know? Purple pinball, man.
Kyle is old school. He wants to go back to the 90s when he was first born.
What?
And see what games look like then.
I was not born in the 90s, but thank you. I guess I do have that youthly aura around me. I like warm white LEDs because it lets the colors in the artwork show. The artist chose those colors because they thought it would look good, and I don't want to add a bunch of red behind what the artist put down. So that's my argument. But
it's a great argument. I actually like that explanation. That's really cool because, yeah, you're trying to honor how that artist originally wanted to.
Well, and also because I am an awful artist and I have no business trying to choose colors, so.
Old man Kyle Spiteri. So the way our restream is working right now is our Facebook users, I believe that are in our Facebook group, Friends of Marco Pinball, they all come up as anonymous, so just as Facebook users. So everyone that is cracking jokes and stuff is anonymous. So, you know.
Yeah, make fun of me, it's fun.
Old man Kyle Spiteri.
I'm boring. I'm a really boring person, I know.
Kyle actually likes all UV black lights. That was from Ludwig Synopsis. I think that's Ashley.
Oh, yeah, no, she knows. She knows what kind of...
UV blacklight colors.
That'll be good. Somewhere around there. That'll keep that from getting too damaged. Now, it would be cool to, like... I mean, I don't know. I think it's really rad what Stern did with Stranger Things. Adding in that blacklight kit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely adds a whole nother element to it.
Yeah, it's unique.
It's
something no one could ever have seen coming.
Pinball machines that have glow-in-the-dark paint, so not UV, but like when you turn off all the lights, then it's like shining green in the background, you know? You have to like push it out into the sun so it gets power. Does that exist? Viper night driving?
Viper, yeah, Viper had the UV, or in the glow balls. The impossible to get UV balls. Let's see here. Now,
Dan Keller here, he revealed himself a Facebook user anonymous. Thanks for joining us, Dan.
We can use this and I can show y'all how a pop bumper goes together. I'm gonna grab a bunch of pieces that I have sitting on the floor.
All right, this is the fun part. Oh, Jonathan Bodge just connected with you on LinkedIn, Kyle. So be sure to add that connection when you get back.
I forgot that I have a LinkedIn. I get emails from LinkedIn all the time, and I did not realize I still had one.
You need to be using your LinkedIn. It better be updated.
Uh-oh.
We're going to start checking that.
Don't find me on LinkedIn. It's not updated. Okay, so the pop bumper consists of a lot of pieces. Let me make sure the camera's in a good spot here. So
it's looking good so far. This is awesome.
We got the base.
Oh, wow. Cool.
The base is what attaches to the playfield.
All right.
So the base fits in right here. Now, can I get it out? Let's see. Nope. Hold on. This is a two-hand job. There it goes.
And tilt down a little bit. It looks like you're putting a lot of pressure to put it in. Does it have to fit in a certain angle?
No, it's just a perfectly routed hole. Good tolerances.
Okay. Gotcha.
So you've got your base, and then there is a little spring that installs into the base here. I think this is part 10-7. That's how many things I've forgotten in life to remember pinball parts. You've got a couple different styles of pop bumper skirt. You can tell this is a pop bumper skirt because it has 6 holes. Some games that use dead bumper, like Meteor, a lot of older 50s games didn't have pop action. They always would have 4 holes. And you'll see some pop bumper skirts that have a little point on one extreme, and those are Gottlieb pop bumper skirts.
Oh, okay.
Those will work in any game. Almost all of this stuff is interchangeable. But this is the correct Williams skirt. I think this game is actually supposed to get blue pop bumper skirts. So let's figure out what looks best. We'll see how it goes. Either way, we got the base here.
Right. You wanted us to ask everybody, would you rather have him install the red pop bumper skirts or the blue pop bumper skirts? See, if it was me, I would do like one of each, and then I would also get a yellow one. Is that an option? Because I love throwing all sorts of different colors. So everyone, this is a very important question. Say red in the chat if you want it red. Red is the original factory standard, correct?
No, blue is.
Oh yeah, that's right. You pulled off those blue ones. Okay, yeah, hold up. So these are not the skirts. These are the tops. Is that, wait, there's the skirts.
Yeah, the skirts I think on the factory game were blue, and they were supposed to have red caps. That's what I was able to figure out by looking at pictures of games and finding the brochure.
So we could do red skirts and blue caps, or blue skirts and red caps, or blue skirts and blue caps, or red caps and red skirts.
I kind of think the blue and red contrast would look good.
I don't know. Everyone is unanimously saying blue. Blue skirts and blue pops. Blue on blue.
Blue on blue. That's a blue overload.
Is that what we're gonna do?
I'm at the mercy of the chat.
Oh, there is one team red. It's red versus blue. Red, white, and blue. Sean Cannon. Yes, they will all have white. Oh yeah, so red. I say red skirt.
I do have a white pop bumper skirt somewhere. So the way this goes, though, we've got the base, we've got the spring inside, and that helps center the pop bumper skirt when it's moving. You can see that there are different holes and different cutouts on the sides here, and those do match up with what happens with the pop bumper skirt. These skirts, when this is fully assembled with the body, the rod and ring ends up going through these two sides here, which made up with these cutouts on the bottom. So the next part of assembling this is going to be getting the base, or the body. This is a pop bumper body. They have small holes here and these bigger points here, and they match up on the base with like this. They only go together one way. It's pretty easy.
Nice. So if you forgot to take your pictures, you could probably puzzle it together.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, but see, I got it backwards though. Hold on.
Or just watch the stream again. We will be archiving this on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. On YouTube, if you go to those archives, you can click on different time codes to jump you forward. So that's an awesome feature about that.
So you can see, though, I said it just goes on. It goes together one way correctly. You can put it together a few ways incorrectly. I showed you the holes where the rod and ring are supposed to go through. If you don't have the pop bumper base rotated the right way, if I were to insert this, the grooves where the rod and ring ride do not have a hole for the pop bump or the rod and ring in the skirt. So simply.
Oh no, Kyle! This is no longer your game. This game belongs to the chat now.
Uh-oh.
And you have to send this game on rotation to everybody in the chat.
Y'all like roller games that much?
I love roller games. I want to take it. Rock, rock, rock and roller games.
And that's it. You've got a pop bumper assembly now when you put those things together that way. So what we'll do, I'm going to take this all apart and we'll try putting it together for reals on the top of the playfield.
Let's try it. So wait, what colors are you going with then? Blue on blue? Really?
Chat says blue, right?
Yeah, but some people are like, can we see what it looks like on the playfield?
I see now. If I got to vote, I'd say put it back together stock. Blue skirts with red. I like the contrast, but this isn't my game anymore, so I guess I have no say.
So you're gonna go with blue and on blue.
If that's what chat says, I guess that's what I gotta do.
Is that not what stock is? What was stock? What was the factory version?
Blue and red.
Blue, red skirts and blue top.
No, blue skirts with a red top, just like that. Or
that is pretty. That
I've
is
got
very
the
American.
old blue caps here.
Or French.
And again, you can't see a lot of this stuff once the ramp goes on, so I don't know. What do you think? Blue and blue? It might be a little too much blue. I kind of like the contrast.
Everyone's saying stock. All
right, I like you guys. Y'all take it right
blue
after me.
Blue skirt, red top.
So what we're going to do, I'm going to go back over
said,
here.
We have 4 options. This should not be so complicated. There's actually more than 4 options, right? Because each one could be different. So the first pop bumper should be blue skirts with the red top. The second one should be blue on blue. And the third one should be red on red.
We could go that ridiculous. We couldn't finish it today, but we could do that. There's nothing stopping us.
You don't want to do that. I want to do that. So this isn't my game. No, let's go all black. I'm hearing Crystal in my ear giving a big ugh sound.
What does she hate?
She wants you to go stock.
All right. Well, stock it is then.
Blue skirts, red caps.
All right. I like that. We're going to cut. I'm going to try to get this.
That was a tough decision for us, guys. We all made it together. That was beautiful.
That went flying. Don't do that. That's bad form. All right. So I'm getting the old lamp socket out of the old body.
All right.
And again, these parts are perfectly good, but they're so inexpensive. If you're going through the effort of taking this stuff apart, it's kind of good form just to replace them. It's just going to look a lot better. These things are really jagged, and they've got big solder blocks.